Well, I made a video earlier, and it brought me to this poll. It brought me to this question of who's the greatest Mexican fighter ever. Julio Cesar Chavez. I was going over his career, and I noticed that he fought 10. Julio Cesar Chavez. I was going over his career, and I noticed that he fought 10 fighters in their debut. Right? He fought 15 fighters that had over 10 losses. Really more than that, but I'm talking about why he was 87-0. Really, 15 fighters that had over 10 losses. Really more than that, but I'm talking about why he was 87-0. Really, he fought 18 fighters who had over 10 losses. So you got 25 tomato cans plus, because there were guys who had losing records that he fought, but I didn't go through all of those different statistics. So this is one of the reasons why I disqualify him from being the greatest Mexican fighter ever. I think he's one of the most overrated Mexican fighters ever. However, I do believe he is a Hall of Fame fighter. I think he was an all-time great. But I think they put a lot of barbecue sauce on this man. This may be an unpopular opinion, but Canelo is better than Julio Cesar Chavez. Hey, Chef Pepin, thanks for liking the live. Canelo has a deeper bag than Julio Cesar Chavez. Although I get on Canelo about his footwork, his feet are much better than Julio's. Julio's feet was like stapled to the ground. That's why Pernell Whitaker boxed circles around him. Everybody that's liking the live, thank you. JD Youngin says that Canelo is the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. I want to give it to Canelo, but you got to remember, Finito Lopez. Ricardo Lopez went undefeated. Ricardo Lopez never lost, and his footwork was better than Canelo's. His counterpunching ability was better than Canelo's. Canelo kind of fights in a simple style. He only fights in one style. That's why he's beatable. And also, Ricardo Lopez has never been caught on any type of drugs. Canelo, without a doubt, however, people overreact to Chavez only going against taxi drivers. Yeah, Chavez went up against a lot of taxi drivers, man. A lot of farmers, a lot of construction workers. Pernell Whitaker was next level defensively. He top 5 defensively to me. I mean, you could argue that Pernell Whitaker is top 5 skills, period. People talk about his defense the same way they try to do Floyd, but Pernell Whitaker's offense was electric. It was dangerous. And he was extremely accurate with his offense. If you in here, make sure you liking the live, man. Julio, the best Mexican fighter ever. Julio. Julio who? You talking about Julio Cesar Chavez? Nah, hell no. You might as well say Coolio, the best Mexican fighter ever. Spend most our life living in the gangsters. You might as well say Coolio is the best Mexican fighter ever, because Julio Cesar Chavez is not the best Mexican fighter ever, bro. And I need the Mexican community. I need y'all to come up here, and I need y'all to state y'all piece. Don't forget about Ricardo Lopez. Don't forget about Juan Manuel Marquez. Don't forget about Barrera. Don't forget about Canelo Alvarez. All of these fighters, not all of them, but most of them are better than Julio Cesar Chavez. Julio Cesar Chavez, his career was kind of manufactured. Salvador Sanchez, he's better than all of them, I would say, but his career was so short-lived because we all know he passed. He got in a car accident. Salvador Sanchez, his skill level was better than all of these guys. I agree. But we gotta respect the resumes. If Salvador would have stayed around for another 10 years, he would have had a complete resume. I don't know if y'all know about football, but Salvador Sanchez is like Sean Taylor. Whereas like you could look and be like, damn, that's the best I've ever seen. But they passed away at a young age, so they don't have the longevity. When there's other guys who didn't pass away and they got the longevity, and you got to respect that. You got to respect what was done. But Salvador was running through champions. If y'all in here, make sure y'all tapping the screen. Make sure y'all liking the live. Jordan Yasiel, Gabriel Quintero, Caleb, all the Hispanics, make sure y'all tapping that screen. Salvador Sanchez is definitely top 5. Lopez was 51-0. Sanchez was too young when he died. Agree with you there. Yeah, that's why I say Ricardo Lopez, he might be the greatest Mexican fighter ever on paper. The man went undefeated. And he was fighting real competition for that 51 or 52-0. Unlike Julio Cesar Chavez, where 30 or 40 of those fights are against tomato cans, man. Jaime Munguia, they've constructed Jaime Munguia's career like Julio Cesar Chavez, where they got him fighting so many cans to get him an inflated record. Somebody says Ryan Garcia is the best Mexican fighter. Yeah, that must be a Trolleon. Somebody says that's Haney. Yeah, Devin Haney might be the best Mexican fighter because Devin Haney has like 30 Mexicans on his box rep. Devin Haney has fought so many Mexican fighters because he started his career in Mexico. So maybe Devin Haney is the greatest Mexican fighter. He's still undefeated. Oh shit, Jaffe LaFleur, man, he came in here. He came in here spitting. Salvador Sanchez, Julio Cesar Chavez, Ricardo Lopez. Lopez and Sanchez are better than Chavez. Canelo is better than Chavez. Manuel Marquez is better than Chavez to me. Chavez was great, but he fought a lot of bums. Thank you. Thank you. Add Estrada in there also, one of the greatest resumes in flyweights ever. But Sanchez defended his belt 7 times versus champ. Exactly. Sanchez, if he didn't pass away, his record would have been so stacked because this man was fighting the best of the best. And then he was supposed to fight Alexis Arguello before he passed. Like, this man was fighting. Are you counting Golden Boy? No, Oscar De La Hoya is not in the conversation for greatest Mexican fighter ever. I'm sorry. Oscar lost most of his big fights. So I guess I had to say sorry, not sorry. Errol Spence and Jerron Ennis, who wins? Damn, I would have to go with Jerron right now because Errol, he looks damaged from, Yeah, Oscar ain't up there. Sorry, thank you. Oscar isn't even fully Mexican. I mean, Salvador Sanchez wasn't fully Mexican, but y'all claim him. Floyd is the best Mexican. For you saying Canelo, like, holy. I'm not going to argue with you too much. Canelo could be called the greatest Mexican. Eric Morales, I don't think he's the greatest Mexican fighter ever, but I think he's one of the most action-packed Mexican fighters, and he fought and beat a lot of all-time greats. Like, he beat Manny Pacquiao, even though Manny Pacquiao isn't Mexican. I mean, if we're talking pure skill, Salvador Sanchez easy top 5. No, we talking pure skill, Salvador Sanchez is number 1. There's never been anyone who came out of Mexico who had that many skills. Salvador Sanchez could fight on the inside, outside, mid-range. He had footwork like a black man. He had an inside game like a Mexican. He had a great chin. So we talking just pure skill. There's no Mexicans there's never been a fighter out of Mexico like Salvador Sanchez. Y'all have yet to produce another Salvador Sanchez that we talking pure skill. But the only reason I can't call Salvador the greatest Mexican fighter ever is because his career was so short-lived. Although he did a lot of damage, he did a lot of dirt in his career, meaning he beat a lot of champions, man. That man was running through top opposition. Salvador Sanchez had the best skill because Mexican boxing is one-dimensional mostly. Exactly. That's why when you look at Salvador Sanchez, you see he has the afro, he has the long cheekbones like a black man, and he moved like a black man. So I think that he was mixed with some stuff. I don't think he was the regular Mexican. Canelo shouldn't even make the list. Canelo has to make the list. His resume is stacked like a pancake. His resume is stacked like, IHOP pancakes, bro. Like this, he's fought so many great fighters. He truly has. Canelo has fought so many great fighters. It's just that at the tail end of his career, he started fighting those tall European, the Caleb Smiths of the world, the Liam Smiths of the world. He went on his European Bum of the Month tour, and now he's going on his undersized black man of the month tour. So in the tail end of his career, he's dipped off in his competition level. But before the dip off, he fought so much great competition. Canelo was fighting some of the best fighters in the world back to back to back. And he was one of the most active superstars in boxing at one point in time. Double X, thanks for liking the live. Everybody that's in here, make sure y'all tapping the screen and liking the live. What about Juan Manuel? Oh, yeah, Juan Manuel Marquez was like that. He was like that. Canelo has 24 beaten champs, number 3 in history. Exactly. I mean, you could say that Canelo is the greatest Mexican ever. I mean, he has an argument for that. My thing is this. If Canelo fights David Benavidez and beats him at this point in his career, a man who really should be fighting at light heavyweight, there's no way with Canelo's resume and with him pulling off a feat like that, there's no way that anybody will be able to say that he's not the greatest Mexican fighter ever. But I don't know why he's not trying to make that Benavidez fight. That's what really would put him over the edge of any Mexican fighter. Because his resume is already stacked. So for you to go out there and beat another fighter that looks like he's going to be an all-time great, looks like he's going to be a generational talent, it'd be like when Muhammad Ali was in his early 30s and he beat the young man in his 20s, George Foreman. He beat a dragon. He slayed a dragon. So if Canelo slays the dragon that is David Benavidez, he's definitely going to go down as the greatest Mexican fighter ever. I think right now Canelo needs to stop running from greatness. His fans believe he's great. Finito is 51-0. Exactly. You must be just getting to the live. I said Finito Lopez is a candidate for the greatest Mexican fighter ever just because not only was he undefeated, but when you watch him fight, he had some very good footwork. He had footwork that you typically don't see with Mexicans. Manuel Marquez is another Mexican fighter that has some good footwork. Usually the Mexican fighters are flat-footed, like one Mr. Julio Cesar Chavez, but Manuel Marquez not so flat-footed. Finito Lopez damn sure not flat-footed. Salvador Sanchez, some of the best feats you can watch in boxing. Somebody said Barrera, Morales, Estrada, Finito, Marquez, De La Hoya. De La Hoya, he can be in the top 10, but he just can't be top 5 or nothing like that. I understand him being in the top 10. I go based more off resume and accomplishments, not record. I mean, I feel you on that because Julio Cesar Chavez, his record will tell you that he's like a monster, but he was a monster in his own right, but he not no fucking 87 and old type. I'm gonna beat everybody in the ring. This shit is inflation right here. This is inflation. The greatest Mexican boxer is Salvador Sanchez. I agree he had the most skills, but his career was so short lived. We gotta give credit to the guys that did it for 10 and 15 years. What about Ricardo Lopez? Yeah, he could be the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. He was undefeated. He had great footwork. He had great counter ability, knockout power. Only thing is, did he fought at bantamweight his whole career, didn't he? Did Finito Lopez go up in weight classes? I'm not sure. Canelo has gone up multiple weight divisions, multiple weight division champ, and he's become undisputed at 168. So I think that's where Canelo will get the edge on Finito Lopez, although Canelo has been defeated before. Is Cotto Mexican? No. If you look at the picture between of Cotto and Floyd Mayweather, you know the pre-fight promotional picture, Cotto is black. Cotto and Floyd look just alike. It's just that Cotto has lighter skin. Quality over quantity. That's what you're saying, but Salvador should be one if that's the criteria. Well, it's both. It's not just quality and quantity. It's both. You need to have a certain amount of fights. You also need to have a certain amount of championships. You have to have beat a certain amount of champions. Salvador was beating champions and shit, but his career was so short lived. You can't necessarily give it to him off of just that short amount of time. I think he went pro at 16 and he died at 23. So that's 7 years. There's guys who was boxing pro for 15, damn near 20 years. So their resume is just much more stacked. I mean, Canelo, look at Canelo. Went pro at 15 and now he's still in the game at 33. So it's like we can't just skip over that. We can't skip over the longevity. Because we could say that Salvador would have gone on to be the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, but who knows? He could have fallen off. He could have got addicted to some substance or something. You never know. You never know. But it looked like he was on track to become the greatest. Just like, I don't know if you watch football, but Sean Taylor, Salvador Sanchez and Sean Taylor, they're kind of similar because they both look to be the greatest that we've ever seen in their respective sport, but they both died so young. What we have is fire in our blood. So trend to fight flat-footed. No, y'all tend to fight flat-footed because y'all have flat feet. You don't got nothing to do with no fire in your blood. Every once in a while, there's a Mexican out there that got some black in them, like Salvador Sanchez, and they could bounce around on their toes. But most of the time, the Mexican fighters are flat-footed. Now, Marquez, though, has no black in him, but I don't know what he got in him, but that motherfucker is not flat-footed. Marquez got some foot.
What's good with you, man?
Man, greatest Mexican fighter ever, man. Who is it, man?
I would say we talking skill wise, right? Or just
Man, we talking about skill, resume, paying bills. We talking about everything, man. Factor in as much criteria as you can come up with in your brain and give me a name.
people might not like it, man, because I noticed a lot of the older Mexican generation hate on him, but I'll say Canelo. I'll say Canelo.
Oh yeah, I mean Canelo has a very, very strong case for being the greatest Mexican fighter of all time. So I think that Canelo, since he's done it so long, he's a multiple division champion. Right now, you could say that he's the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, but we cannot ignore the fact that guys like Benito Lopez are undefeated. We cannot ignore the fact that guys like Manuel Marquez was fighting the best. So he had some losses, but he was fighting the best, and he knocked out a legend in Manny Pacquiao. We cannot ignore the fact that Julio Cesar Chavez, although he has an inflated ass record, Canelo has some inflation on his record as well, but no one has a more inflated record than Chavez. But Chavez has some big names, big names on his list, like Meldrick Taylor. You understand what I'm saying? So, boom.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. And plus, I just think if Canelo and Chavez fought prime for prime, I just think Canelo got more skill, bro.
Yeah, Canelo has more. His bag is way deeper than Chavez. Sugar Ray Robinson has the most inflated record ever. Not the most, but he has one of the most inflated records. No, he's right. He has one of the most inflated records among superstars. because there's other guys with inflated records. You just don't know who they are. But yeah, Chavez and Sugar Ray, boy, they was fighting damn. They were just grabbing people off the street, talking about, "Hey man, you want to be in a boxing match tonight?" Like them,
Hey,
Chavez and Sugar Ray, boy, they was knocking out dudes right off the street, bro, handing them a check and sending them home. The only thing is, the thing about Chavez and Sugar Ray, since they were actually extremely skilled, they could beat some of the best guys in the world, but they would pad their record up against nobodies.
yeah. Chavez was like the epitome of like what his people want to see too. Like he just super, you know what I
Yep.
mean? Super strong, come
Yep.
forward, entertainer.
He's the reason why people call it. If Salvador Sanchez never died, Salvador Sanchez was bigger than Chavez. Chavez pretty much came up after Salvador passed. So if Salvador Sanchez doesn't pass away, what people know is the Mexican style would not be that. Like people would, Salvador Sanchez was out there boxing, moving, fighting on the inside, outside. So what people know is the Mexican style because of Chavez, it wouldn't even be known as that. It'd be known as being able to do everything. It'd be like how after Floyd Mayweather retired, everybody wants to do the shoulder roll. Everybody wants to have footwork, pull counter, hit, and don't get hit. Everyone would have been trying to fight like Salvador Sanchez, and the Mexican style would have been more beautiful if Salvador didn't pass. But when he passed, Chavez rose up with that basic hit, and get hit style, come forward style, and that's what was known as the Mexican style, just like that. Somebody said Sanchez had a Russian style. No, Sanchez had a style like Floyd Mayweather or like Roberto Duran. The style isn't really a style at all. They basically just do whatever they need to do. So it's like whatever the situation calls for, they do it. Some fighters are able to do that. So it's not really a real style. It's a winning style. They win. And yes, Roberto Duran was not Mexican. He was Panamanian. And when you look at the way his skin tans, I dare say he might have had a little bit of that Negro up in him. Hey, Boxy Dragon, what's up?
Yo,
Yo, who's the greatest Mexican fighter, man?
greatest Mexican fighter. Hmm. Do Mexican Americans count?
Yeah, man. I mean, if they got a sombrero on anytime throughout the year, it counts. So, who the
Facts.
greatest Mexican
I'm gonna
fighter?
give you. I'm gonna give you three. Chavez, Canelo, and then De La Hoya.
Man, De La Hoya should be up there with the other two, man.
Nah, man, I highly rate his showmanship, man. You know me, I'm always about showmanship in here. I love showmanship.
Okay.
It's severely underrated. So he
I
was.
mean, because it's hard to box and be a showman. So, you have a great point.
That's why I
Now,
like when people can do it. I hold them in high regards. You know what I'm saying? Because
right,
they're,
right.
they're
I
just
mean,
like
I can't argue that because guess what? This is entertainment. So, it's not just about your ability to box, but it's about your ability to box and entertain. So, when you
facts.
bring in Oscar's points as an entertainer, you can throw him up there with some of the big names, but he wouldn't come in number one or number two or number three. I think Oscar at the most will probably be like top five at the most. Like, and he's number five. Someone says Mexican boxers are overrated. Rob, I would have to disagree. Salvador Sanchez was Mexican. Although he had a black man's afro and moved like a black man, he was born in Mexico and they consider him to be Mexican. He's one of the greatest fighters that you could ever watch on film. Canelo Alvarez is an all-time great fighter. I mean, like there are some great, great, great fighters produced out of Mexico. The guy behind me, even though his record was padded up, like he was getting ready for a football game, he beat Meldrick Taylor. Meldrick Taylor was nothing to play with, and he changed the course of Meldrick's career. Meldrick Taylor was never the same after fighting Julio Cesar Chavez. Chavez came back in the 12th round and was able to get a stoppage after losing the first 11 rounds. But these Mexican fighters, they can fight, man. They can fight. Bro, my uncles look like Salvador Sanchez. Yeah, I know. Crazy. How do you even explain all the championships? What do you mean? Somebody said Ryan Garcia. When y'all say Ryan, I know that is trolling, bro. They trying to get a laugh and shit. He the second person to say that. Now Ryan isn't in the talk of greatest Mexican fighters ever. He could, you know what though? He could be if Ryan was to just start beating everybody. Say Ryan knocks out Devin Haney, rematches Tank, knocks him out, then goes on to knock out Tio. Like
Nah, Ryan's
the way
definitely got the attitude for it. The skill just needs to match.
the way that Ryan has all the eyes watching him, he could potentially go down as the greatest Mexican fighter ever. He all you had to do is start knocking out all of his contemporaries. So if he starts doing that,
You don't even
yeah,
need to knock them all out. Just one.
No. To become the greatest ever, you gotta win
Oh, okay,
against
greatest
champions
ever. Okay.
consecutively. That's what. Yeah, it's greatest Mexican fighter ever. Like Salvador Sanchez was beating legends at that time, Hall of Famers at that time. Little Red
Yeah.
Lopez, Gomez. You
Now
know what I mean?
let me put the chat on to some prospects from Mexico that are super good, bro. Like Murataye is real. He's real nice, and also El Moranito. He fought on Canelo's undercard. Super slick. I'm talking Matrix slick, man.
Mm.
And the power to boot. You know what I'm saying? So those are two cats I would definitely watch out for if anybody in the chat knows them or want to watch any of their fights. Murataye especially, man. He's in 135 too.
Mm. Macho Camacho was great. Macho Camacho was Puerto Rican, bro. He was black. He used to say the N word on the microphone on camera. He wasn't no damn Mexican. Talking about some Macho Camacho was great. Yeah, he was great. He was great for the Puerto Ricans and the blacks. We asking for the greatest Mexican fighters ever. I don't want to hear Hector Macho Camacho. I don't want to hear Roberto Duran. They're not Mexican. I might do a live about the greatest black fighters. I might do a live about the greatest white fighter. Somebody said we own 168. How do y'all own 168? The biggest fighter at 168 right now, the most dangerous fighter is David Benavidez. Y'all know that David Benavidez has some mix going on in his blood, bro. That man, he
And
does
also,
not
he
look
doesn't even
like your
claim
typical
fully like
Mexican.
the Mexican thing, you know.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he doesn't even look. David Benavidez hang out with black people, bro. That man, like you catch him, he could pass for Dominican. But at 168, the top guys, or the guys that are really, really dangerous, who also have sort of a name, Benavidez, Morel's Cuban, Benavidez, we don't know what the hell he is. Canelo's Mexican, and who's the other one? Uh, mm.
Bro, that live you gonna do on greatest black fighters all time, we gonna be here all day, bro.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be here all day. I think I might do it tomorrow. I might do it tomorrow. Mexicans run 168. I disagree. Canelo is the greatest Irish boxer to ever live. Yeah, Canelo might. That's the thing. Canelo really looks like a Spaniard. He looks like a Caucasian that speaks Spanish. Like there are people over in Mexico who, they're not. They don't have the original DNA of the people over there. They mixed in so much with the Spaniards that they pretty much just white boys that speak Spanish.
That's
Canelo
why
looks like
he's
that
so
man.
sellable, bro. Mexico's mad
Yeah, that's
racist
why.
against their own people.
Yeah, that's why
He's
Canelo is so marketable. He looks like a
like
white.
in
He
the
looks like a
Mexican
white man.
community, he's like a white Mexican. You feel me?
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
really easily sellable.
Tell the truth, man. Shame the devil.
Now
Let him
let a
know.
dark Mexican go up there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They
Like
gonna
another
treat it the
example
same.
is Oscar de la Hoya. You can,
But look, I'm gonna tell you too. Like Salvador Sanchez showed up there with an afro. Next thing you know, he in a mysterious car crash and shit. You know what I mean? So they don't like the Mexicans that don't necessarily look
like,
a certain. Canelo, he got the complexion for the connection and the protection.
mm-hmm.
But yo, Diga Moredes, who's the
No,
greatest
it's me,
Mexican fighter of
Marcos.
all
It's me,
time?
Marcos. It's me, Marcos. Marcos.
Oh, it's Marcos.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah, yeah,
shit,
yeah.
I ain't.
I had to change
Oh,
my name.
uh,
Yeah, what's your
Oh yeah,
question?
I don't speak nothing but English, man. So I don't know of all that. But anyway, who the greatest Mexican fighter of all time?
In my opinion, I'll have to go with Salvador Sanchez, and then because I
But
like
but
Manuel
his career was
Marquez.
so short lived, man.
I like Marquez as well. I thought he was fun.
Marquez was dangerous.
Yeah, his one
Marquez,
of my favorite KO versus him versus Manny Pacquiao.
dang, yeah, that's a lot of people's
Beautiful.
like that KO will always live in the minds of boxing fans who saw it. That shit was like wow.
He
Like
just
people thought that Manny Pacquiao was never gonna come back, and the fact that Manny Pacquiao boxed after that, Manny Pacquiao is a very strong-willed person, very mentally strong-willed person. Because some people would just retire after some shit like that. Like they would be too afraid. Like damn, I almost died. Somebody says no black fighters beating Canelo at 168.
yeah.
That's
Okay,
true,
then.
but there's a mulatto fighter named David Benavidez. He would beat Canelo.
David Morrell, honestly, he's Cuban.
Oh yeah, Morel, but he green as hell. But you know what? He's so big, and like he's
Uh
tall and long and lengthy, and he has so much footwork. He probably could beat Canelo. You're
huh.
wrong. A lot of guys try having froze in the early '80s and '70s. You're just young. No, I mean I'm not talking about that. I'm saying Salvador Sanchez showed up with that afro, and they say, he's popping up digital and shit. You know what I mean? But Julio Cesar Chavez, I'm sure he's had fast cars, but he didn't get in a car crash. Canelo hasn't been in no car crash. Basically, what I'm saying is, I think that there was some behind the scenes stuff when it comes to why Salvador Sanchez is no longer with us, why he was taken away at 23 years old. That's basically what I'm saying. And I think that if he acted a different way or if he looked a different way, maybe they wouldn't have got him up out of there. I don't know what exactly happened, but I know something don't sit right with me about that shit. Like the man, 23 years old, he gets in a car crash and just he's gone. Someone says victim mentality. Jason, explain what you mean by victim mentality. Or you're gonna be a victim of getting blocked up this bitch. Okay, Ricardo Lopez is a good one. Ricardo Lopez is a good one. I mean, that man is undefeated. When you watch him box, he had power, great counter ability, fast hands. Um, he had a lot, bro. Oscar De La Hoya is not the greatest Mexican fighter ever. Not in my opinion. No, hell no. He can fight though, but nah. In fact, he probably one of the more overrated Mexicans, like Julio Cesar Chavez, because Oscar was such a star. Like he was a natural star. Oscar was making fucking pop music and shit. Not pop, but whatever y'all sing over in Mexico, he was making albums and people was buying that shit and listening. Canelo's way better than Chavez. Skill wise, I agree. Canelo is better than Chavez. And his resume is really, really good. Ricardo is definitely top five. Facts. Somebody says Mariachi. Nino Bino, what's good, man? Greatest Mexican fighter ever, man. Who is it? Let
Canelo,
me know.
man. Why y'all don't hear nobody saying Canelo?
Oh no, I just said Canelo. Well, you just got here. You just got here.
Okay, yeah.
Canelo has a argument being the best Mexican fighter ever. Like,
No, I don't think Canelo's number one because he got caught using steroids.
oh, that's a good point. But you know what
Mhm.
though? Marquez, man, in that Pacquiao fight looked like he was juiced up, man.
Man, I was about
But
to
he
say
never got caught. Never got caught though. So
a lot of the Mexican fighters, a lot of the Mexican fighters are juiced up, man.
Yeah, a lot of Mexican
That's
fighters
all Floyd they want to fight none of
doing that juicer, man. They
juiced
I
doing
up.
that
just came on
OJ.
here to say the steroids was in the meat. It was in the cows. He didn't get caught. I just want to
oh,
clear that up.
how's
We
it
don't want to spread false rumors.
Yeah, man.
He
We got a
crazy.
legacy on the line now.
eating?
It was in the cows.
Okay,
It
I'm
was in the
sorry.
cows.
I'm sorry about that.
And Canelo,
Yeah, we got to clear that up a little bit. That's all I wanted to chime in and say. I'll
That's what he
get back to the
said.
chat.
I
That's
mean,
what
I
Canelo
believe it.
said. But
when Canelo beat
Canelo,
Charlo, that don't go on his resume or what? Because he beat him pretty easy and he's undisputed.
I never said that.
No, I mean that's but Charlo undersized. We have to. That's like when Rocky Marciano was beating when Rocky Marciano was beating Ezra Charles and Jersey Joe Walcott. Like it's a great win. It's just like Canelo beating Jamel. Yeah, it's a great win on paper, but deep down we know that those men they should never been at heavyweight anyway. Like Ezra Charles was supposed to be fighting at middleweight and light heavyweight,
I
but he
mean,
had to jump up to heavyweight in order to get a real chance at the title. That's how they used to do black fighters back in the day. So you got to mention that when you got to make mention of that whenever you bring it up. So basically, it's like it's a good win, but it has an asterisk next to it.
so do you say the same for Canelo and Bivol or no?
When I mean, Bevo asked Canelo to fight him at 168. Canelo said no, I would not rematch you at 168.
I
Okay.
think it's a
So
matter of
Canelo had a
perspective.
chance
I
to.
think it's an asterisk for Bivol, but not an asterisk for Canelo, because Bivol's been at the same division for years, like years, bro. So like I never understood like why they rank Bivol so high. I see him skill wise, but bro just hasn't done nothing to be a pound for pound. Beating Canelo, who's coming
It's
up and
because
also
it's
old,
because
like you know what I'm saying. That ain't pound for pound for me.
I mean, but Canelo had already showed some promising moments at the weight class. I mean, he stopped Kovalev. I thought Kovalev took a dive, but yeah, you're right. Bivol maybe he shouldn't be ranked so high, but if Bivol beats Bertabiev and he beat Canelo, as I said, the Canelo you have to put an asterisk next to it. Then that will prove why he's ranked pound for pound. Because him and Bertabiev about to get it on, and I can't miss that. That shit gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
They should have
I
been
want
got
to
it
see
on
who's gonna
though.
win that. And David Benavidez is gonna get the winner of that fight, man. I'm telling you.
But they should have been
We
got
all
it.
know Canelo's gonna duck
Floyd
him.
changed the game
So
with that, man. You got to prolong the fights to build it up. It's like WWE now.
yo, KG. So it looks
No, that's bullshit because Devin Haney ain't prolonging nothing. And Ryan Garcia ain't
Yeah, fact,
prolonging nothing. Floyd ain't
fact.
changed nothing. It's just that Tank not making fights happen. That's all. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
Tank. Oh, yeah, Tank is the one in them weight classes. The lower, I don't understand what's going on with Tank, but
Man, somebody said Julio
They
Cesar
did.
Chavez fought over 100 Walmart employees. Chris Scott said that. Yo, Chris Scott funny as shit.
Yo, Chris,
He was texting me. That man funny as a motherfucker. My man said Chavez fought over 100 Walmart employees. God damn.
Hey, a lot of these
That
fighters
motherfucker was trying to
over
put Walmart out
they
of
over
business fighting them
prolonging the
motherfuckers.
fight.
yeah,
Hmm?
he's
No, I
it,
said a lot of these fighters is overly prolonging the fight.
Yeah, it's getting
So
crazy out here,
when
man.
you
It's getting
prolong a fight, you lose money. Anthony Joshua prolonged the Wilder fight, and now the fight will never make as much money as it would have. Now his ass got to fight Francis Ngannou. The only reason why Manny and Floyd didn't fight, it wasn't because Floyd was trying to prolong it for more money. It just happened to be that it worked out that way, that people were so interested in that fight that they broke pay-per-view records. But
Now,
Floyd was trying to fight that man
the
in his 20s, but Manny
the
didn't want to
Pacquiao,
take a drug test. So
right?
it just
Correct.
kind of happened. It just happened.
Freddie Roach even said himself that Manny Pacquiao was scared of
Mm-hmm.
taking
Nah,
steroids.
he didn't want to take that drug test.
Yep. So that fight was prolonged. It wasn't natural. It wasn't naturally prolonged. They didn't plan it to go that way. It just ended up happening and it ended up working out for the best. But you gotta understand, you're talking
But
about two legends.
but
The
I
guys that are
remember.
trying to follow that blueprint, none of them are legends. Like Tank is not a legend right now. He could become one, but he's not a legend right now.
He got to get
Floyd
a
and Manny
belt.
was
He got to get
legends.
a
That's
belt.
when he fought.
I
Everybody,
remember.
the entire world wanted to see it because they had already cemented themselves as legends in the sport.
I remember when Fight Night Champion, when I was playing Fight Night Champion. If you look at Manny Pacquiao's Taylor tape photo, you can see the muscles in his face, and that's when I was like, Floyd might have a point about the steroid usage on Pacquiao, but he
Yeah.
never got caught though.
Yeah, he ain't never get caught, but he did get caught though. When
Man,
motherfucker
Fight Night
don't
Champions
want
that
to take
game, bro.
when the motherfucker don't want to take a drug test, that's them.
How
They
you
telling
know?
on themselves.
Exactly. The same thing I said.
And
So
it
what?
wasn't like it was a Floyd was paying him. It was $1 million drug test. You're getting paid to take a drug test, bro. You're gonna get the biggest check of your life. Somebody says Ricardo Lopez. Ricardo Lopez was undefeated, great footwork, great countering ability. I would not argue with anybody too long that says that he's the greatest Mexican fighter ever. But I think Canelo, as far as him going up in the weight divisions, becoming a multiple division champ, becoming undisputed, I think I would have to give him the edge over Ricardo Lopez, although Ricardo was undefeated.
Canelo gonna go down as a goat, man. He gonna go down as a goat Mexican fighter.
If he would have beat
Unless if
Benavidez,
you fight
bro,
Benavidez.
if he beats Benavidez, I would be 80 years old telling people, yeah, he was the greatest Mexican fighter ever. I watched him slay a dragon.
So
Okay,
if he end up fighting Crawford and beat him, that wouldn't go either. That wouldn't go on his.
Fuck no, bro. Don't nobody want to see. Come on, man.
that
Come
fight's
on,
not gonna
Nino.
happen. That fight's not gonna happen. Canelo said it himself that
It don't matter if it do happen. He could knock Crawford out. Crawford welterweight.
Mhm.
If Canelo beat Benavidez, you would not. The argument is over. He's the greatest Mexican to ever come up out of Guadalajara or Tijuana or whatever the hell, wherever he's from. He the greatest Mexican to ever come up out of there, bro. Put your sombreros up.
But you
I
want
don't know the answer, but who beat the most champions, Chavez or Canelo?
heavy.
Canelo is almost right behind Floyd.
Then he's the best.
Chavez,
Didn't beat
he beat.
every
You heard my man Chris Scott. Chavez beat the most Walmart employees ever.
Yeah, so
That
Canelo's the
motherfucker.
best Mexican ever.
No, but I mean nowadays they got a lot of
Right now,
belts.
you can make the argument. You can make the argument that he is.
Yeah,
I mean,
because I
But
mean, if you want to think about it, that's what Floyd hang his hat on.
but they have
So
so
that's
many
what Floyd
belts now.
hang his
How
hat on.
I
Then
don't understand. They have so many belts now, and they try to use that argument.
exactly,
So many
exactly.
belts.
So that's
that's
something. That's a
true.
great point. So
That's true.
there's more belts now. There's more belts now.
Like
But at the end
anybody
of the
got a
day,
belt.
you know, a champion, even if a champion only got one belt, is still a champion. You have to recognize it. And the fact that there's more belts as opposed to you just fighting, if they only had one belt, that means there would be a lot of great fighters out there that you don't fight because they don't have the belt. So now you're fighting the same dude 3 or 4 times. Like,
I
nah,
think
nah.
I think De Los Santos was a real good fighter. I think personally, I think he's a good fighter. I want to see him fight somebody else top of the line
I
besides
thought De
Shakur.
Los Santos was Dominican.
He's something. He got a nigga in him.
No,
Facts.
listen. We not talking about you just stating a separate point though, right? About De Los Santos.
Yeah, it's just a separate point. I
Yeah,
just think
yeah.
he's a good
Okay,
fighter.
yeah.
That was off
So
topic.
somebody with the music, make sure you mute your mic. We got music in the background because I ain't trying to get sued and shit. Salvador Sanchez is the GOAT. If he lived longer, he would have definitely been the GOAT. He had more skills than any Mexican fighter. Salvador Sanchez had more skills than most fighters, period, ever. Like any race. He was a bad man.
Yo, who's the greatest Russian or Soviet fighter of all time?
Oh wow,
Ivan Drago.
Fucker from Rocky.
I didn't drop.
Klitschko. Where the fuck Klitschko from?
Russia.
He's Soviet,
Klitschko,
bro.
man, of
Ukraine.
course.
Russia, but he fought Chris Arreola, no?
Klitschko, hands down. That's never. I mean, as far as white boys, period. Klitschko, hands down. Klitschko had fireworks coming out the ring, man. I ain't
Loma is
never
also
seen that.
No, Loma is not the best white fighter. He's not even in the Loma is 17-3. And it's not even about the losses. It's the fact that we've seen that Loma, for all of his talent, when he gets in a big moment, 9 times out of 10 he's gonna lose. So he can't just say Loma like, no, Loma not really one of them.
Somebody,
Klitschko.
somebody, somebody said in the comments, Finito Lopez. I think he's the top when it comes to
Mexican
Tommy
fighter.
Morris.
yeah. He
Hey,
fought
let
the
me
most
ask you a
fights.
question. Let me ask you a question, because he undefeated and I think he fit 2-0. How many weight divisions did he fight in?
Finito?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I think he's still in the same or like ultra light.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. That's why I will give Canelo the edge, because Canelo has gone up multiple weight divisions. Like Canelo really shouldn't even be able to fight at super middleweight right now. But when you have the steroids allegedly, as well as his natural ability and his experience, he's able to compete at a weight class where he's really supposed to be too short to have that much success. So that's why I got to give him the edge.
Canelo. I didn't like him when he was with Oscar because Oscar is toxic for boxers. I think from my point of view.
Ryan
I
Garcia.
agree.
But
Look at
once
how
once
he
he
did
once he
Ryan
was
Garcia after
released,
losing.
once he went free, from Oscar de la Hoya, he showed what he was made out of.
Did you guys know this?
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Garcia wanted to fight like Tank way before, but the Oscar De La Hoya didn't let him.
That was personal
No,
though.
it was smart
Ryan
that he
had to
didn't let
fight
him. They
Tank.
made more
It
money.
was smart, but like it's better for boxing if they fight each other.
Nah, but that was personal because Tank was pulling him
I
off the
mean, that
scene.
definitely happened at the right time.
When
Yeah,
Canelo fought
I don't know if it was done
Floyd,
yet, but I don't see it over there.
when Canelo
Okay.
fought Floyd, I remember I bought myself a TMT shirt with the Mexican
Mm-hmm.
flag. I went to the liquor store, man. I was about to get my ass beat.
Yeah, you out there big trolling, boy. My man came out there with a TMT Mexican flag. Oh, hell no.
Hey,
Yeah,
trip.
people were
Boy,
like giving me
shit.
dirty looks,
See
and
no
like they were
Don't do that
questioning,
in
like, "Oh,
Oakland. Don't do that in Oakland. Them Mexicans don't play out there.
I give Floyd the credit because Floyd learned from his father and his uncle, and they both fought Chavez. So that's why he's his legs are amazing. That's what makes Floyd Floyd.
Speed is
Yeah,
both.
if you take away Floyd's footwork, he'll lose a lot of fights.
Floyd the goat though. So
Nah, it's his stamina. You take away Floyd conditioning, and Floyd lose a lot of fights. Floyd
But
could fight 14 rounds.
to have the feet for 12 rounds, you gotta have stamina. That's a given.
So yeah, it's Floyd's stamina that separates him from everybody else. Cause Floyd don't get tired. Floyd in the 12th round looks still
My
fresh and
dad
crisp.
didn't even get tired.
He's a champion though. He's definitely a champion.
That was his best fight, and he gave him a rematch. So Floyd the goat.
yeah,
Yeah,
Floyd
Mhm.
the
yeah,
goat.
Floyd, he the man.
And when he fought Marquez, of course Marquez lost because he was smaller. But he proved that he knew he was a real pugilist. You know what I mean? His boxing was amazing.
Yeah, that Marquez fight is one of my favorite Floyd fight. It's just pure
Yeah, when
dominance.
he came off a 2-year layoff and dropped that man, that shit was crazy.
That was a fight. That was so to me. Yeah, he's a champion. He's
Wait, so
I
who?
just don't think we'll ever see another Floyd again. Floyd was like, I
Well,
don't
yeah.
know,
Speaking of
man.
Floyd,
Floyd was
y'all think
Like
anybody?
Yeah, you're never gonna see
guy
another
that could
Floyd
have
again.
been Floyd is Shakur, but Shakur has nothing about him that's likable right now. There's nothing
Oh
about him.
man, don't
That
worry.
one
Now
fight?
Shakur don't fight nothing. Shakur doesn't fight anything like Floyd though.
Yeah, he does.
He
Shakur fights. I
does.
said it before.
I'm saying like
He's the
people would have thought of
closest.
him just like we
No,
thought
he not. He
before.
doesn't fight
Like
anything like. Go compare Pretty Boy
Well,
Floyd to Shakur Stevenson.
no,
He fights
no,
nothing like Floyd, bro,
well,
at all.
I say
I'm
I'm
not saying they
Shakur's
fight
number
the
one
same. I'm just
fan.
saying like You know how the casual think they think of
He-
Floyd that Floyd doesn't have
yeah,
any power. Floyd is
yeah.
not.
He's the closest to
We were
Floyd
talking
we're gonna
about
get.
So who the best at
He
Nah,
just has to
135 or
prove
140?
himself, and that's gonna come in time.
man, y'all tripping.
Nah,
That man don't fight
Yeah,
nothing
he don't
like
fight
Floyd
like Floyd.
Mayweather.
Nobody fights like Floyd.
yeah, man.
Like,
I'm Shakur's number one fan. I'm really on here for Haney control because we need to calm that down as much as possible. But
Oh, for real?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
I'm
getting a
Shakur's
little
number
too
one
much.
fan. Shakur, the closest thing we got to Floyd right now. He
fuck
is the
no.
face. He is boxing.
He's
Who?
not the face of
No,
boxing though.
Shakur
He
is
not.
not the face of boxing at
I
all,
What?
said
man.
he
That
is
was
boxing.
wild.
He is
You
boxing.
about to say you said he's the
I
face of
know. I
he
had to
No,
is
catch
boxing.
myself. We're not there
that's
yet.
what I heard.
That's
We're
what I'm
not there
saying.
That's
That's
what
yet.
because
I
in your
heard.
heart you wish he was the face of
Yeah,
boxing.
but
But
in
you know
time,
and
But he
I know that
cannot.
that man is not doing the right
nah,
stuff outside of the
Right.
ring. He
He
should
has
have.
in
to pass
Why
time.
the
didn't
first
Shakur?
yeah.
Why didn't Shakur fight Devin for the 25%?
That's easy. And you know, one of my homeboys, we had this talk off camera, and he said no, they could have renegotiated the other half of the fight after that. I said, well, we wasn't in negotiation, so we don't know. But if I'm Shakur, I already had this conversation before. I won't go too deep into it. But if I'm Shakur, I know I'm better than you. I done spanked you in sparring a
Oh
hundred
yeah,
million
I
times.
remember you.
You know what I'm saying? Why would I take your 25% when I know I'm going to see you in the future anyway? If
Right.
I
And
just
my
beat
counter to
you.
that was Floyd knew that he was better than Oscar, but Floyd took the 25%. But it is
Okay,
what it is, man.
but that was a
Shakur killed him.
personal.
He should have
If
fought Devin. I think
Shakur,
That was a
Shakur beat
personal
that's
Devin.
the
ass
He's a lot
biggest
whooping.
better.
mistake he has ever
I think
done.
Shakur. I
Mayweather,
think
Gotta fight
Shakur would have
Devin
beat
Haney.
Devin. Oh yeah, he
mm-mm.
should have fought him, man. He was tripping. He
All right,
rushed
remember,
Devin.
Mayweather
Devin
and
Haney
De
is
La
only gonna
Hoya.
go up in weight class, you know, and then
Well,
he's gonna get
well,
bigger over time.
Haney ducking in the way because as soon as Shakur moved up, Haney moved up.
That's
So
true.
he
There's a
ducking
video
in
of
the way.
Bill Haney said, if it starts getting hot in at the 135, we're ready to go to 40. He said that with his
Exactly.
own. Yeah.
Cause that's when Shakur became most hated when he moved up. If he would have stayed where he was at and Tank was cool with it, Haney was cool with it, everybody was cool with it. But once he said he moving up, that's when all the hate started coming because they know they can't beat him. They can't touch him.
Nah. Tank and Devin Haney beats Shakur, bro. In my personal
Uh,
opinion.
okay.
Everybody that's been liking the live, thank you, man. I appreciate
I
it.
really can't comment on that because I kind of feel like that's trolling. If you
No,
just
it's
look
not
at the
No. You
tape,
trolling.
gotta
It's not
comment.
trolling.
Comment on that, brother.
okay,
Tell
comment
them
on
why
that.
you
Hell no,
think
man.
Shakur
Okay,
wins. Tell them why
okay,
you think Shakur wins.
okay. Look at the tape. Look at Shakur fight. Shakur's doing victory laps in the 12th round. I haven't seen anybody doing victory laps on any opponent in the 12th round. And my thing is this: put Tank against De Los Santos, put De Los Santos against Haney. I think they'll lose because you have to have
Damn,
superior defense to fight
Bro,
damn.
against
what
them.
No,
is this guy smoking? I want to smoke what
no.
he's
No,
smoking.
Yeah,
hold up. No, hold on. De Los Santos dangerous, boy. He hit hard as hell.
that's what I'm saying. You have to have superior defense to fight somebody who throws bolo, just like Rolly, who throw bolos the whole fight. They don't have that type of defense. They don't. Shakur does.
Yeah, Tank doesn't. That Tank has good defense, very good defense, but he don't have Shakur's defense.
It
He don't. I think Shakur
right,
got the best reflexes out of Tank and Devin.
right, correct. So you're just not going to hit him, and the name of the game is to hit and don't get hit. Meanwhile,
Hmm.
Shakur can throw three-punch combinations and land all three. That boy
Yeah,
sounds
because
like
you
Bruce
think
Lee.
I
The
just
last
I just did
time,
a breakdown. That's a good point you mentioned. I did a breakdown. It was a short breakdown, like 6 minutes on the sparring between Shakur and Devin. They was sparring a dude named Lesnick or something. And Shakur, he picks every punch. He tries to do these straight shots, these clean shots. And for the most part, his defense is extremely tight. His defense is tighter than Devin Haney's. His defense is tighter than Tank's. And
yeah,
when he doesn't want to get hit, you're not going to hit him. In fact, for
exactly.
CompuBox, I think his opponents have he's in the top five for least punches landed by an opponent, least
Uh
power
huh.
punches landed by an
Yeah,
opponent.
you're not going to touch him. He's the closest thing we got to Floyd. And one thing I wanted to mention, but it went out of my head with Shakur. Oh yeah, the last time we seen a guy sound like that fighting was Bruce Lee. If you watch Shakur tape, when Shakur lands a jab, he go woo, and you will see his face. That's called emotional content. Bruce Lee taught that. That's why whenever you see Bruce Lee fighting and Bruce Lee throws a punch, Bruce Lee's go, oh, he makes noises and faces. Shakur will pop your ass with two shots
Shit.
and he'll go, ooh, and he'll look and you'll see his face go, he'll make
So
that face like,
Shakur and that
ooh,
bitch, Shakur
yeah,
and that bitch sound like Bruce Lee. Is what you telling
yes.
me?
Look at his face. Look at his
Do
face.
you guys ever watch?
That's why records
Oh
were meant to be
shit!
You
to
guys
be
ever
broken.
watch
Shakur is
Eric
gonna
Morales
outdo
versus
Floyd.
Barrera?
He just has to prove himself, and
He
he
is the
because
That
oh
motherfucker
man.
said Shakur
Those are
got
some
the eye of
bold
the
statements,
tiger.
my
He
but
said
guy.
Shakur got the nose of the
notice
tortoise.
how I go from smoking shit to everybody's quiet and listening because now I'm dropping facts that nobody on these boxing channels aren't dropping about Shakur. They're treating him like he's some bum, and he's not a bum. He's really, I'm Shakur greatest. I'm his number one fan. Like, no, he's not no bum. He's the greatest fighter we've seen since Floyd,
He's not
and
the
you have to
greatest
give
fighter
him
we've
Mm.
that
seen since
respect.
Floyd. What?
I
Nobody's
don't think
lining
no
up
one's
to
saying
fight
he's a
him.
bum. He's just not entertaining in an
Okay,
entertainment
but just
I
sport.
give
think
him a
I think he's
chance.
entertaining, but he's not entertaining in a casual sense.
Yeah, I mean, just give him a chance.
He a
Man,
great
I'm sitting
fighter.
here thinking like, man, hey, yo, Jave, send me a video when this live is over, right? Send
Oh,
me a
cool.
video of that Shakur and Bruce Lee shit, man.
Yeah, all right.
I'm gonna
I
say
sent it to
Shakur,
you.
Shakur,
Yeah.
that bitch,
Huh? What he will hit him with 2 or 3 punches and he'll go pop out, ooh, and he'll be looking at him like yeah, I know you just got hit. Like I know you felt that.
Shakur not being
oh
being tank.
shit, that boy
It
said
stays on your
Shakur
mind,
me.
huh? Like you get he
He's
like that. It
doing
stays on your
he's
mind every
doing
time you
big,
hear that noise.
huh?
Shakur not being tank. I'm not gonna lie to you.
How can Tank hit him?
That's a
Tank
good
Tank
Listen,
point.
man. Listen,
Tank's
listen.
Tank's
All right, let me
downfall
talk. Let me
is
talk.
his
Let me talk.
reach.
Let me talk.
If
Let me
That's
Tank
a
talk.
good
Yeah,
point.
if Tank had longer arms,
yes,
Tank probably would knock everybody out.
yeah,
But Tank got short arms, so he's gonna have to chase Shakur. He's gonna have to chase Haney around for
yeah.
12 rounds.
Yeah,
That's his weakness.
That's
anybody of
why
you guys watch the fight Eric Morales versus Barrera?
I have to relook. I have to look at it again on YouTube.
I ain't seen that shit in
Oh,
a
you guys
minute.
gotta watch
Mm.
that fight. It was like the 12 rounds, every like, punching each other like the entire round. I never seen a fight like that.
What's good, TJ? Yo, so as far as Morales, bro, what he did to Manny Pacquiao was crazy, boy. Dominated that man. But Morales, I feel like he's a very good Hall of Fame Mexican fighter, but I think he wasn't polished enough to really make him the greatest. You know what I mean? Because you got to factor in he fought a bunch of great competition, but he wasn't really polished. He was more of like how they say that Mexican style type fighter, more like that. And I think for you to go down as the greatest, you got to have more in your bag. That's why I would put Canelo over him. Like Canelo, he added in some of that slickness, especially after Floyd whooped that ass. Next thing you know, Canelo rolling his head. You know what I mean? He's trying to work on his head movement, his defense, counter punches are getting better. Shit like that
Look,
we never really seen. We never
so
really seen Eric Morales do.
Floyd will make
when
you do
you
that.
pick a fighter like if you wanted to create a great fighter, who would you train him with? Like I will have the Mayweathers train him, and then once they're done with him, I will take him to Mexico City.
Mm. So they could be when I was thinking about Salvador Sanchez, I look at him as a guy that could fight like the Mexicans and who had power and could take a punch, but could move like a black man. And I think that's what made him so damn special. Like it's like he brought together, those two styles. And I think
I
that's
don't
the
know.
style that's very, very hard to beat.
I don't know what it is about Mexican fighters, but they can take a ass whooping like so good. They got like a solid chin. I don't know if it was in the water, but they can definitely take an ass whooping,
But
man.
it's the meat, man.
It
It's the
gotta
meat.
be. It gotta be, cause dog, they could take some punches. Like they
That,
man,
that's
bloody
what
and
told me
all.
Chavez. Chavez, like he was able to take punches.
They all do. I haven't seen a
But you know
Mexican
what though?
fighter
You
that
know what
can't
though?
take punches.
I made a video about this. Over in Mexico, they had 5-year-olds with sparring gear on, and they let them bloody each other up, man. 5 years old, so they built punch resistance early on. They built toughness early on. So they got all type of callus in their body,
Well, I need to send my 5 year old to Mexico.
from a child.
We need to get this out the way early.
Mexico City. That's where you have the World Commission, right?
Shit.
And
I know to be good.
they
The
make
meat is great.
they make those gloves, the red ones, the Cleto Reyes.
Speaking of Mexicans, y'all think Pitbull gonna beat Rolly?
Tape. That's the best hand wrap. That yellow wrap from Mexico.
By the old man Cleto Reyes, like he made the pretty good boxing gloves and wraps. Yeah,
Yellow hand wraps from Mexico is hands down the best wraps. Them the only ones I use when I train.
Where are you, in California or?
Nah, I'm in Houston right now. I be passing up Shakur Boxing Gym. I'm from New Orleans. I've been in Houston for like 10, 12 years.
All right, all right.
Yeah, I used to, when I was a kid, Neutral Corner Boxing Center, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Y'all really think Pitbull gonna beat Rolly? No.
I think Pitbull gonna
Uh,
be rolling.
I
he
think
could
so.
be Rolly, but he gonna have to drop that high guard and actually swing.
If you ever find like an older trainer from Mexico City, like try to learn as much as you can from them, because they're different though. They have a different views on what boxing is.
Say, KJ, I'm about to log off. Look up them Shakur fights real quick.
All right, man. Make sure you message that to me, man.
All right, I am. I'm gonna clip that shit right now.
All right. Hey, Keffa, what's up, man?
Hey,
Greatest
it's good to
Mexican
hear
fighter
everybody.
ever.
I've been
Why?
listening for a while, but it's good to hear everybody. Everybody's above the earth. I listened to the topic. It was so many other topics,
Yeah,
but
other topics. I'm gonna just take it back to the top, man. Who's the greatest Mexican fighter ever, and why?
well, I think he's behind you, man. On the
Oh,
poster on the wall. I mean, how could you hands down not have that face up there and ask that question? If anybody goes against that, I would tell them to go do their history. Yeah, you might find some greats, but we're talking about in an era. Let's stick to eras. We're living in. I lived his era because I'm a 1960 baby, and you guys lived some of his era, so we can study him. But now, if we're gonna go way back out of his era, yeah, they're gonna be greater guys. We talking about this era. He is the greatest for our era. Yes, yes.
all right, but listen. So I made a video about this. This man was 40 fights deep, and he fought a fighter in their debut. He fought 10 fighters on his resume in their debut. He fought 18 fighters who had over 10 losses. So all right off the bat, that's 25 journeymen and guys who are lesser than journeymen because you got them 10 debut fighters. And this isn't even counting the guys who had losing records. So, I mean, he has one of the more inflated records in boxing history. What do you say to that?
Okay, when we go to facts, and we always we can fact check all this. You can't go against the facts. I can't fight facts. You see my point? Good,
Yeah.
valid point. I mean, we could be caught up in the nostalgic and all the different things, but when you bring up the facts, facts are facts. I'm not going to dispute that. But what I will say, in our era, it might have been inflated, but I don't see what's the difference in that inflation to inflation what we have now with Floyd
Yeah.
Mayweather. So I got
Oh
my
no, Floyd fought the most world champions of all time, man.
right, but look, they was on their way out and it was all inflated. And they all got 20 million. So let's look at the record,
They
man.
was
I mean,
on their
come on,
way.
man. I mean, let's come on. Let's talk about what inflate is. Let's not stick the word
No,
inflate to
when I
one
said
area.
inflate,
The
what I'm
word
talking about is the fact that you're 40 fights in, you're fighting guys in their debut. You have 10 debut fighters on your resume, and you're 40 fights in, and you still fight another guy on your debut. You have 18 fighters who have over 10 losses on your resume.
okay.
Floyd fought the most world champions. He only has 50 fights. He doesn't have 18 fighters with
All
over
right. Well,
10 losses on his resume.
let's go back
That's
to what
what I mean
somebody
by
said earlier about the nostalgia.
inflation.
Let's go back to what somebody said earlier about the nostalgia of a Mexican. These guys, you even said was fighting since 5 years old, no mas, no mas. So I
Yeah.
think if you took on him and you took 45, 25, you met him in Mexico, they'll be still in that ring together, busted it out mano a mano. So I look at that as him, his being a Mexican, he taking on any challenge. You want to challenge him, he's going to take it. I
That's a
would.
good. No, that's actually a good argument. Some people they will fight everybody.
And he fights everything in every category, everybody, so you can't say nothing. I think it's a mixture of what that fighter did. And I mean, everybody has an opportunity to knock somebody out. It only takes 6 inches
Right.
in the right punch, right?
Yep.
6 inches in the right punch, you knocked out.
Hey, Don Judah, what's up, man?
Bro, I'm
Greatest
so
Mexican
tired
fighter
of
ever.
this. Floyd beat old and out fighters, Castillo, all these cats. The only fighters he beat that was old, that was champs, was basically Shane Mosley. And then if beating older fighters, if older fighters beating older fighters is so bad, then why the fuck nobody could beat Floyd when he was 37, 36? That showed these guys wasn't as great as he was. I don't care what age of Tyrannosaurus Rex Shane Mosley was. Floyd would have beat that dude, man. What? Couldn't even beat Vernon
Floyd is great.
Forrest. Come on, man.
Floyd's the champion. Floyd is great.
The man was a great fighter. That shit, I don't know if it's jealousy or it's just some insanity or people just don't know anything about boxing. I don't know what it is. I don't
I
know.
think that when it comes to Floyd, I think people, if somebody says something in the media and they say it enough, then people they accept it as the truth. But a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times Floyd was older than guys he was fighting, or even in the
Yeah,
Mosley fight, they
exactly.
were both in their 30s. They're both so Floyd wasn't, the spring chicken itself.
Same thing with De La Hoya. He gets he
Yeah.
gets he gets he gets a bad rap for fighting De La Hoya. But what about all the old fighters De La Hoya for? And it's like Chavez.
Yeah.
Nobody never
And
criticized him
Purnell,
for that.
Purnell was at the end when De La Hoya, and people think Purnell still beat him. They think that was a
Burnell
robbery.
did beat him.
But
Burnell beat
I
him.
mean, there was a round where Canelo hits the ropes, and then Floyd Floyd starts laughing, and then he looks at him and he's like making a face like what the fuck? Because he hits the ropes like twice.
Yeah, and that's crazy to me because
That's how fast Floyd is. You know, he was
Floyd beat
fast.
Canelo, Canelo was what, 23? And
yep,
they started throwing, oh, he was too young. But what about when Floyd was 21, 22? Why nobody beat
beating
him?
champion, beating champion.
I think
And
modern
Floyd
times,
fought Chicanito
Floyd had
Hernandez
40
when
Well,
fights,
Floyd was
was wearing
young.
well,
the belts, but he was
well,
too
guys,
young.
style make fights. Styles. Floyd knew how to pick his styles of the opponent, and that what made great fights. If you look at and compare that fight with Canelo back then, Canelo, which he still, I haven't seen him change his walking on the line, his movement, his foot movement. I haven't seen Canelo. He improved on it, how strong he is on it, but he's not a fighter. You're gonna see him move off the line a lot, even when he fought Triple G. So when he fought Floyd, he fought a skilled foot fighter defensively. So he fought a great fighter there. But again, you're looking at two different styles. Would it be a great fight the second time to see that? Because have he's improved his style on the line, Canelo? Has Floyd changed? Well, we'll see a reproduction of the same thing and a worse embarrassment for Canelo. It'd be the same thing. So styles
Hey,
make fights to me. Styles make fights.
somebody says who did Floyd fight at 22? Floyd fought Chicanito Hernandez, man.
Gennaro Hernandez. Yeah.
Yeah, so that man had like I think he only had like one loss at the time.
He was a good fighter.
Yeah, he was
Gennaro
man. He
Hernandez.
was more than a good fighter. That man
Floyd
was
is a great fighter.
yeah, great.
No, I'm
Yeah,
talking about
I get a
Gennaro
lot I get a lot
Hernandez
of hate
Hernandez.
from
Yeah,
saying that.
Hernandez.
was a good fighter, and he was the
Yeah,
champ.
I think he only had one loss when
hmm
Floyd fought him. And Floyd was
I
22.
I
But
Floyd's not supposed
you
to win
can't
that
speak.
fight.
That's foreign language to casuals. Gennaro
I get a lot
Hernandez.
of
Who the
hate
hell was that? I
from
don't know
saying
him.
that though. But Floyd today he's the best. Period.
Man, it's crazy how people just denounce my boy, man. The kid
The,
was a great fighter, man. You can't take that away.
and look at who had us as a trainer. You know, his father and Reggie Mayweather was amazing too. And if Canelo was a great fighter like a lot of people think, then how come he didn't move like Chavez when he fought Reggie?
No, we're not gonna throw Canelo under the bus. Canelo is a great fighter. Just
He's
because
a
he
Canelo
great
beat
fighter,
also
but
Floyd
two
don't
he's
all-time
mean
great
lacking on
he's
the
fighters.
not a great
legs.
fighter. Come
He's
on now.
lacking on the legs. He doesn't have the legs Chavez had. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
well, everybody, he don't have to. Okay, well, that's cool.
My thing about Canelo, I think Canelo, when you look at the skills, he has more skills than Chavez ever had. And
Yeah,
Canelo went up a bunch of
Facts.
weight classes. Like Canelo started his career at 140, and now he's fighting at super middleweight. So that's amazing. And he's undisputed at super middleweight. Although
yeah.
he has been ducking David Benavidez, you got to give him his props. He's an all-time great fighter, and he's one of the first Mexicans to make an adjustment when they realize, oh shit, this whole Mexican style stuff, this isn't going to be winning fights. I got to work on my slickness. I got to work on my footwork. I need to be able to fight off the ropes. I
Facts.
need to work on my head
That,
movement.
that's when
Floyd
he
And
Mayweather,
left.
I heard somebody in the sorry, I heard
go you
somebody
good.
in the comments dogging my man Salvador Sanchez.
Oh, he's a beast.
He's
He
one of
was
the
a
best
super.
fighters,
Yo,
bro.
fighters today patent their style after him still today. He was a
Yeah,
versatile
they
the
can't.
dude. Just because he see when we say who was the better fighter, sometimes we get mixed up with who had the better career.
Yeah, because he passed.
There
So
you
that's
go.
why.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why I can't put him
That's
as
a
number one.
yeah,
that's a
And that's
yeah.
different
one
See,
reason
story.
why
his time
it's like
ended early,
yeah,
but
it's
when
like
he
Sean Taylor. You can look and tell Sean Taylor, he probably would have been a greatest safety, but when somebody passed away early, they can't get the resume to
Mhm.
truly compete with the other guys
exactly.
who live to be able to
When I think
compete.
of Salvador Sanchez' career and I try to compare him to other Mexican fighters, I can say skill for skill, he was top 3. But you can't
Right.
look at it because you're gonna say, oh, he
Top
didn't
three.
fight any top champions. But okay, he fought probably 1 or 2 great fighters. But when I look at the way he fought,
He dominated him.
and I could look at, and I could use my IQ, and I could say, okay, if he fought Chavez, if they was in the weight class together, and he fought Chavez, Salvador Sanchez would have destroyed Julio
If you
Cesar
could break off,
would
look,
have
Think
you
so?
saw what happened
destroyed
with
him.
Pernell
And
fight.
that's
You
what I
saw what
mean
happened
about
with Pernell
who was
fight.
the greater fighter. We don't, I don't careers. Okay, when we think of that, we got to look at Gerald McClellan when he got damaged. Gerald McClellan would have G-Man would have been a great fighter.
Yeah.
He would, but we don't know that because he got damaged by Nigel Benn. So
But
it
this is the
ended
thing.
early.
When it comes to with Chavez, we saw what Pernell did to him. Like when Chavez was limited as a fighter, so when he
Mhm.
get in there with somebody with some footwork and they could do the same shit on the inside and they could take a punch and all that, it's a wrap.
But you waited too
Pernell
long.
breathes
I
him
seen what
with
Frankie
footwork.
Randolph did to him. Forget what Whitaker did to him. Frankie Randolph destroyed him. And Frankie Randolph was basically unknown. Like only real boxing people knew who Frankie Randall was.
And the crazy part, even in the fight where he was able to get my man with the fast
Mildred
ass
Taylor,
hands,
Mildred Taylor.
Meldrick Taylor. Even in that fight, he was getting his ass whooped. He lost every round.
You know, the ref did that.
Yeah.
That was Don King's man. He did that here. 2 seconds left, he stopped the fight. That was crazy. That messed up Mildred Taylor's career. But he still
I
took my
mean,
man Aaron Davis' belt. Like that
Mel,
was crazy.
Meldrick, I think he should have fought a safer fight. At the end of the day, if you beating somebody like that and you're tired, you know what I mean, hold, take a step back. But he had like, I think they said it was like a Philly pride thing.
No, it's not only
Yeah,
that.
Major
Y'all
Taylor
don't
was good.
understand. Mildred Taylor didn't have a long amateur career. He was so good as an amateur.
Yeah,
Like his second year fighting as an amateur, he won the Olympic trials.
yeah, he
So it's
did.
like
Mm,
you in the Olympic trials with no experience. So when he
That was
turned
mm.
crazy.
pro, he didn't have really no amateur experience.
Yeah,
He was the youngest one on the team. He had
yep,
no experience, and the Duvas in them threw him to the wolves. But he won that fight. I think he
Yeah,
earned that title fight. But sometimes you got to build the fight up a little more when he didn't have an amateur career.
yeah.
Everybody can't be what's his name from Panama. What's his name? I can't think of his name.
Benitez.
No, not Benitez. The lightweight
You talking about Durant?
Duran. Everybody, because Duran didn't have an amateur career either.
Yeah,
So he had like 3 amateur fights.
No, but his professional career, they took him along real well. Like he was getting hella fights, and he was always fighting. So they carried him. But and plus Duran, like you said, everybody can't beat him. The way that man learned and improved, like he went from being only able to fight in one style to being able to fight in 6 styles. So I mean, he was just one hell of a fight. That shit, Duran is nobody that was like him. Like
yeah. What's up, bro?
there's no fighter that was
That
like
was a
his
great
brother.
fighter. It's just that he was
Yeah.
he wasn't matched up well. When they put him in there with Tommy Hearns, that fight shouldn't have been.
Yeah,
You know what else though? You know what else though? It's not even so much about matched up because he would fight anybody. He was never the same after the first Ray Leonard fight when he won because he went home and gained almost 200 pounds.
That
Like
too.
that, you're not supposed to do
But
that. And
I
then
remember
he
that
got
he
to
was eating
lose all that way back
but
to get ready for the
a lot of
rematch.
stuff.
the reason
He
why
was
you
never
have
the same after the fight.
managers is to prevent bad matchups. I'm not okay. You fight anybody, we know that. Boxers are boxers, but managers have to be managers. It's a sport, and we love that when we get great guys fighting great guys. We love that, but it's also a business. So I mean, it was a bad matchup, man. There's no way on earth he could have beat Tommy Hearns. It was almost impossible.
But
But
it was a great fight.
It was.
I mean,
every
think about it. Tommy Hearns, he got stopped by Marvin Hagler. This shit happens.
yeah, but that was
Yeah,
after.
Okay. Well, but Hearns got stopped by he
Yeah, but
got stopped by
by
Ray
my
Leonard
man,
too. But
Iran
I'm just
Barkley.
saying that we people want to see the best fight the best. So even though he looked like he didn't have a chance to win, he
Yeah,
went in there, he tried. So you may say like for his career that wasn't the best thing, but that's what boxing is about. Right now, we had more of that going on. The sport would be better.
and they crown like crown. That would have been great in a prime. Like if he would have beat Sugar Ray, or he
and
did
then
beat Sugar Ray.
for her.
Like if Hearns was still at welterweight, and let's say he never fought Sugar, but Duran fought Hearns, Sugar, and then he got the winner. That would have been a good one
Yeah,
because they was more in their prime. They was, they both would have been undefeated. They in their prime.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
to me, that would have been a lot better than okay, I'm moving up to super welterweight to fight this freak of nature. And I'm really a
Yep.
126-pound fighter. That's really what I meant.
exactly.
I didn't
Yeah.
really mean don't fight great fighters.
And guess what? He didn't have that Manny Pacquiao special. That motherfucker Duran was out there doing it all natural.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
was though, for real.
Yeah, I love Duran. That was my brother's favorite fighter. I used to argue with him about that all the time because I was a
I
little
used to like
biased. I was
Durant too.
young.
Durant was really good, man. That's my favorite
Yeah,
fighter too.
I learned Durant. I appreciated Durant after I got older. When I
Yeah.
got older and I started thinking about it, started
Yeah, I
watching the
studied
fight.
Durant's style and stuff. He got a good style. I like it.
You
And
know,
then the man jumped up 2 weight classes to fight Sugar Ray and won. Like that's not supposed
That's
to happen.
crazy, bro. How
That's
the
not
he
heck
supposed
you
to
do
skipped
that?
happen.
140. He skipped 140. That was crazy to me. And I was a young dude, but I was like, how's he skipping 140? At that time, I thought you couldn't skip a weight class. And
Yeah.
what you guys
A lot
don't
of people can
might
do
not
that now
know,
though.
what you guys might not know is back then they didn't respect
Yeah.
catch weights. Like I
Yeah.
didn't know that either, but they didn't respect catch weights. Like
Yeah.
140, 150,
Yup.
154,
Yup.
168. That was like garbage to them. Like we ain't fighting for no damn catch weight belt. It was a fight I used to love. Um, it was a little before my time, but I used to watch him on VCR tapes. His name was Lochi. He
Oh
was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mr.
He was quick
Untouchable,
as hell.
and I used to watch him on VCR tape and but the reason why he wasn't that popular because he fought at 140 all his career and nobody respected 140. So it was
Mm.
like, he's a 140
But you know
pound
what
champ.
though? No, you know that you know why why I know that what you talking about because that's how it was for black middleweights back in the day. A lot of guys like Ezra Charles, even though he went up to like heavy, he had to go to heavyweight weight class that he had no business at. Another one, what's the guy
Well, that's
Floyd
because they
Patterson?
didn't have catch
Floyd
weights then.
Patterson. No, I'm saying you Floyd. These guys, they had to go to a weight where there was recognition. So a lot of
Well,
middleweights back in the day would end up fighting heavyweight because
that's
that's what
That's
all
what
the
I'm saying. In those days, like when Ezra Charleston was fighting, they didn't have the catch weights. The catch weights came in. I can't remember the exact year. 140. They added the juniors and all that. I think it was 1960. I don't want to say the wrong year, but I'm gonna say 65. That's when they added the catch weight. So the catch weights wasn't there in the 50s, and see, it wasn't no catch weight when Sugar Ray Robinson was fighting. That's why he had to jump from welterweight to middleweight, and then from
Yep,
middleweight to light heavyweight, because there
Yeah.
was no 154, there was no
yep,
168. There was only
yep.
one belt. That's when boxing was boxing.
Yeah.
And that's why you see them dudes. They got 15, 16 losses because when you gotta fight everybody, you gonna
Hmm.
lose. You gonna
Yep.
lose.
And then you
Yeah.
back then you got a lot of people who lost, like Jersey Joe Walcott. Jersey Joe Walcott has so many losses not because he really lost, because the mob,
Oh yeah,
he
the
was
mob.
under the mob.
They ran boxing.
So it was like you this big black guy and you fighting this little scrawny guy. You're gonna lose so we can win this money, okay? And he had to go out there and lose. And people bet on Jersey Joe Walcott. He 230 pounds. He fighting a 190-pound nobody, and he goes out there and takes a fall. So that's how he got
Mm.
all.
And that's something that they don't even talk
Yeah.
about. They used to do
No.
boxing that when
That's
the
my
mob
favorite.
was running it, it was like WWE, man. Like they'd send dudes out there to lose, just like
Mhm.
Don Judah said,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
Shit's crazy, embarrassing. Yo, brick by brick, Tom Ross was good, man.
What's
Yeah.
good, man? I thought I'd come in and see what you talking about, man. Cause
Hey, man, we're gonna take
you
it back
always
to the
bringing the
top.
truth.
We're
You
gonna
always
take it back to the top, man. Who's the
yeah.
greatest Mexican fighter ever and why?
The greatest Mexican fighter ever has to be Salvador Sanchez.
Thank you.
But his career was so short. But I understand what you're saying.
I'm talking
Talent
about
wise, can't
far.
nobody
I'm
mess
talking
with
about
him.
far skills.
See,
Okay, right, right.
Cause in boxing, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. So, like the nigga behind you, right?
He's really not
A
that
boy
great,
like that.
if you're honest.
You just getting here, but I'm gonna say this stat again. This man had 10 debut fights. He was 40 fights in and still fighting a fighter in their
Hey, what's
debut.
the question
And he also
again?
had 18. He also had 18 guys who had over 10 losses on their record that he fought, as well as that. This isn't even talking about the guys who had losing records.
Right.
So that's
Yep.
like 28 tomato cans right off the bat, journeyman. So
Right.
a lot of his record is one of the most inflated records that
Yes.
the
It's,
Very
87 know
inflated.
of all time. That's crazy.
Hey, what's the
Very
question
inflated.
again?
it's right
The
there.
question is greatest Mexican fighter ever. Because let me let NBA get his piece off. Greatest
Man,
Mexican
I
fighter
don't
ever.
know, cause Chavez, man, I don't know, but I'm gonna take Salvador Sanchez, cause I
Only
don't.
thing Salvador Sanchez to me is like Sean Taylor, man. He
Yeah,
looked to be the best, but when somebody passed that early, it's
yeah,
almost disrespectful to disregard the full resume of the men who are living and was
yeah.
able to give you a long career.
I'm gonna say
Because
Canelo. I'm gonna say Canelo too, though.
we could say that Salvador would have went on to just be,
Yeah,
undefeated, to be like a Mexican version of Floyd, but we don't know because life happens. Guys fall off. He could have picked up an addiction. Anything could happen.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like Salvador. Yes, talent wise, skill wise, eye test.
yeah,
He looked like the greatest Mexican fighter ever. But
But he did have one
You
loss.
got Ricardo Lopez out there.
yeah.
Yeah, Lopez. But you had
Hey, what's that one
Salvador had
Mexican?
one loss.
He had like 51 wins and zero
That's
losses.
Ricardo
I can't think of
Lopez.
That's
his name.
Lopez.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
Lopez.
that's
was.
why I said you got Ricardo
Yeah, he
Lopez
was
out there.
good too, though. I say him too, probably.
If we go by skills, I think Salvador Sanchez is it, man.
Above every head and shoulders
Yeah,
above
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah, I say
I-
that too.
I've been watching boxing since the '70s with understanding. I'm gonna say about '79 with understanding, and I've seen a lot of fights, man. I come from a fighting family, so it's not like I
Yeah,
was a casual. No, my brothers made me sit in front of that TV and watch these fights.
And why?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I watched a lot of, and remember back
That's how my
then, well, y'all
mom
can't remember,
was.
back then it came on regular TV, CBS, so we didn't have to
Yeah,
have pay-per-view,
Right.
cable. We
Free.
can go, it comes on regular TV. So I watched a lot of fights. I forgot a lot of things, but
yeah,
I damn sure didn't miss Aguero versus Aaron Pryor. So if y'all didn't see those fights, y'all don't know what boxing is. Even if
Man.
you watch it on YouTube,
Yeah,
just watch it.
I seen them fights
it's
too.
I know
different.
you watched it, man.
Y'all
I
lived through those
watched
great
all them
fights. It's totally
fights.
different, man. So I couldn't even like that's an experience that guys are missing out on. We have yet to really live through a true super fight. That this new generation of boxing,
Mhm.
and we thought that Errol and Trish was gonna be that. We thought it was gonna be that, and it wasn't.
Name brand it was, but it didn't pan out.
It didn't- no.
Yeah, get
Yeah,
that.
Arrow fucked it up when he got in that car accident. We don't even know what that fight really
Yeah,
is. We don't even
exactly.
know because Arrow still ain't the same.
Exactly. And Roy, and it was a video I posted about that, and Roy Jones said it point blank, but Roy kind of said, and Don Judah picked up on the same thing I picked up on. Roy used it as an opportunity to make an excuse for like how he fucked his career up with losing
I hate when
25
he do
pounds.
that shit.
Let me give you a rundown on this little man, Roy Jones. I love Roy Jones. Don't get me wrong. Everybody loved Roy Jones for his
Right.
flashy style. But what was Roy Jones known for? Captain Hook, the
PEDs.
left hook. He was known for knocking
Hey,
cats out.
he was
Give
doing
me
the
one.
left hooks.
Give me
Yeah.
one. Hold on. Give me one superstar Roy Jones knocked out.
Facts.
But he was known for knocking people out. Give me one A class fighter Roy Jones knocked out.
He
I
didn't
real
None.
knock
quick.
out Tony. I know that.
Tony,
I
None.
James
would.
Tony,
Tony got
James
knocked
Tony,
He
out.
I
didn't
know.
knock Tony out.
James Tony.
Right.
He
That's what
ain't
I'm
knocked
saying.
Tony
So
out.
that's
Bernard
one hell of a
Hopkins, James
performance.
Tony, and Antonio Tarver was decision wins.
Right.
Virgil Hill was not an A1 fighter. Even though he won the
Yeah.
silver, he was never he was a C plus best.
And
So
before G Man got that accident, Roy could have gave him a shot, man.
Well,
coulda-
well,
he,
pe-
he ducked him. He ducked him.
well people don't.
But he ain't only duck him, he ducked none first. He supposed to got the
Yeah.
title
Hey,
shot
they
with
said
none.
he ducked I can't think of old dude name, but I can't think of his name, but they said he ducked Michael McClellan. They said he ducked him too.
Yeah,
I don't know how true it is.
not Mike McCullough. Nah, Mike
Gerald, I think it's
Oh, I
that
Gerald
thought
McClellan.
McCallum.
Gerald,
My bad.
Gerald, G
Yeah,
Man.
some shit like that.
But
Gerald
the
McCallum,
first
yeah.
person he
Yeah,
ducked
he
was
did
Michael
though.
Nunn.
He did though.
Hmm.
He turned down a title fight with Michael Nunn before he even fought Bernard Hopkins for the vacant title. He's supposed to have fought Michael Nunn. He turned it
And
down.
James Tony went in there. James
And
Tony
James
went in there and
Tony
got
was there
snubbed. Up.
and
that's the reason
laced
why.
him.
That's the reason why he's not in my top, because you gotta understand one thing. We don't even know what he really is, because he was on PEDs the whole time.
His brother was
Heck
fighting
yeah.
postal
He was on
workers.
PEDs the whole time. We don't know
Yo, I
what he
had this,
was.
in my gym, we had this guy named Richie Frazier. He won the New York Golden Gloves. He was the oldest dude to win the New York Golden Gloves at 32 years old. So by
What?
the time he turned pro and got his little 20-something fights, he was 36. Roy gave him a fight. And this is the Roy that already beat James Toney. He fought a
Wait,
New
he
York
was at
City
your gym for
heavyweight.
real?
Yeah, well, Connie's gym. We had a gym called Connie's Gym in Harlem. We had Lonnie
Disrespectful,
Bradley was
man.
the WBO middleweight title holder in that gym too.
I ain't even know that, bro.
Tricky Ricky
Dang.
Frazier, he gave him a fight, knocked him out in the second round. Everybody, and that's why I say if you're not at that time in the gyms, everybody was laughing at Roy. Like, yo, this nigga just fought a postal worker, and now he fought an NYPD cop, and y'all still going crazy over this dude. He's good, but he's setting his own career up. He's setting his career
Hell
up, bro.
nah, bro.
One
That
thing I
bet not happen
realized
at my
one
boxing gym, man. If I go to a boxing gym, that bet not happen. Oh hell nah.
one
What?
thing I realized
Richie was 36 years old, so I
one
mean,
thing I realize is any black boxer that they get behind, when I say they get behind, the boxing industry
The
gets behind,
media, yeah.
it's always some shit with them. Always. They never pure. You notice when you really cold and you black, they hate you. They never hated Floyd. I mean, they never hated Roy. Never.
never hated Roy because Roy was so flashy, and they could have hated him if he would have
Yeah.
went in there and did what he had to do and won those fights. They would have hated him.
Yeah.
But
PDs.
he didn't really do
And,
nothing.
and,
He
and
fought
Roy and
journeyman.
Roy Roy was kind of like a good old country boy too. Like he never stepped on nobody's toes. He let them talk
Exactly.
crazy.
He's a Tom. He's a
I'm gonna
Tom.
tell you, nah, he ain't that bad. He ain't that bad, bro. He ain't no,
Nah,
he
Roy
ain't the
Roy
same.
done went over to
Yeah.
the
He's
rest
not
of
that bad,
Tom.
bro. He's going over. Now, what Roy did, right? It was a fighter named Mike McCallum, right? Mike
Yeah,
McCallum was
yeah.
fighting James Toney and stuff, but he really didn't make any money because Sugar Ray ducked him, Marvin Hagler ducked him, and Tommy Hearns, Emmanuel Stewart wouldn't let Tommy Hearns fight him.
Yeah.
So when he got old, he asked Roy for a fight. Roy was like, "Come on, man, I don't look like fighting you. You 38 years old. That's not gonna look good." He said, "Roy, I don't want to fight you to win. I need money." Roy said, "Oh, I'm gonna give you the fight, and I'm not gonna knock you out." Roy fought him, let him last 12 rounds. He got paid, went back to Jamaica, and living like a king.
Yeah.
He gave Roy all the praise in the world because of that. So Roy wasn't no Sambo. He just was protecting that chin. That's what he was protecting.
Yeah.
But he knew James Toney sat behind when he got to 168. He really
Yeah.
wasn't training anymore. James Toney was best at 160. And
Yeah.
Roy
James
fought
Tony
James
was
Toney at 160.
That
We
was
wouldn't
the
even be
best.
talking about Roy Jones right now.
yeah.
So
That
Don,
was
what
the
you're
best.
saying,
But
Roy
James Tony,
Jones
he didn't want to. He
was
didn't want to make
marketable.
that weight though. You know,
You
James
know,
Tony like he.
yep, he
So
ain't
we
like
so we
him.
so we have to say then Roy Jones was the marketable item at that time. He was the cash
Mhm.
cow. You see what I'm
What we
saying?
called Roy Jones back then, and mostly all the gyms in
Superman.
Harlem called
Superman.
Roy Jones the Journeyman Destroyer. That was his
Oh, they
name.
call him the journeyman destroyer.
The Journeyman
Dang.
Destroyer.
What?
Yeah. He even fought
Dang,
Murky
man. You
Sosa.
exposing
Yeah.
everything right
Go look
now.
at the Murky Sosa fight. Murky Sosa was a Dominican dude that sold drugs in Washington Heights, New York. Murky, he had two less feet.
What?
Murky
This
Sosa
is
couldn't even
crazy.
walk regular if he was walking in the street.
I
That's
never
my
thought
niece
I'd
husband.
hear this.
Yo,
That shit crazy.
Hey,
I
thanks for
knew
the
about four
information,
fighters.
bro. Thank you,
I knew
man.
about
So
four fighters personally that Roy Jones fought, and they
so
was not
basically,
that good.
he said Roy Jones
He was
was
probably
the
around the
black.
way, dude.
Basically, he said
Oh
Roy Jones was the
shit,
black Chavez.
man.
I don't. You don't have to listen to me. You can look it up. You can look
He
it
said
up.
Roy Jones was the black Chavez.
Shit, man. That's funny,
but,
bro.
but when you
Man.
think about a superstar, you think about somebody that at least knocked out an A1 A class fighter. He's the only
Yeah, man.
superstar that never knocked out an A class fighter.
Or really dominated one either. Because sometimes you can't knock niggas out, but you supposed to dominate them, close them
Yeah,
out. He
true.
ain't
Because
never dominated one either. When has
yeah,
he ever went in there with the A class fighter and just shut
nah,
him out? Never.
he
He got
never.
knocked out by Tarvin.
And when I debate
Yeah.
with people, and I usually debate with casuals, and they usually don't know anything, yo, they give me the cursing out. Roy Jones was the greatest of all time. Yo, I'll be laughing. I'm like,
Because they
stop
watch
it.
highlights. They don't watch fights.
I
They watch
don't even
highlights.
know,
In New
man. That's
York.
crazy.
York.
He looked
New
fancy.
York.
When he was fighting those journeymen, he was doing all kinds of chicken and all that, and his hands was
Heel
fat.
Hey,
toe.
what's the guy who had to go to the UK and he fight Nigel Ben? I can't think of his name, but
That was
River
Gerald
Jones Jr.
McClellan.
ducked him too.
Yeah, Gerald McClellan.
You talking
Yeah,
But
about
he
T
see,
ducked
Man,
him
man?
too, man. He
but,
ducked a couple fighters. I remember.
but
Some of y'all niggas
I
need
was
to pay
telling you that
attention. He said
yesterday
that shit
about
like
him,
3 times.
about Gerald McClellan and Roy Jones at that in the National Golden Gloves. See,
Yeah.
Roy,
Hey, tell him that story, man.
it was a good fight, but Gerald McClellan was beating the shit out of Roy. But it wasn't as bad as I make it sound because
Yeah.
Gerald McClellan punches was so much harder than Roy's. It was
Yeah.
like every time he connect, it was like ooh,
Yeah, I
ooh.
remember that fight
Yeah,
though.
I
I
remember.
remember that
Yeah,
amateur
So
fight.
so Roy never wanted to. Well, I think when he turned pro, it was like I ain't fighting that dude. He hit too fucking hard.
Hey, why he ain't
So
fight
you're right.
Julian Jackson? The
because
guy that's middleweight.
Julian was at 154. Roy
Yeah.
started at 154, but he left real quick because he couldn't
He
make
left
the
real
weight.
quick.
But
Right.
Yeah.
Julian Jackson was mostly at 154. By the time Julian Jackson won that middleweight title,
Yeah, yeah. I
I mean, he
remember
was
that.
older.
Yeah.
They wanted to see two punches, so they threw Gerald McClellan in there, and that ended his reign right there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it wasn't Roy. Him and Roy never came up.
Hey, but the reason why they give you so much hell when you say Roy Jones was and all that is because they really believe those Rocky movies are real, man. They believe
They
they
just
believe in all
casuals,
this shit.
man.
They
They
think that
just
shit
Hey,
is
casuals.
really
shit, he
real.
just got exposed, man.
You
That's
can't do the heel
crazy.
toe in the middle of a fight with an A class fighter. You know what I'm saying? You
They just
can't do
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah, yeah, but they're not gonna analyze shit with that like A class. They just see a fighter. Oh,
Right.
everybody's a
Yeah,
pro.
they,
Roy
yeah,
Jones
they
was
don't
doing
even
the
care about.
moonwalk and shit.
They don't even care if somebody jumping up 2, 3 weight divisions.
Yeah, they don't look at
Right.
stuff
Like if
like that.
Canelo was to beat knockout Bud,
Uh-huh.
everybody in Mexico would go crazy. They would not be like, "Oh, well, Bud jumped up 3 weight divisions." They'd be like,
They don't
"Damn,
give
man,
a
you see
fuck.
how hard Canelo hit? He
Right.
got a
Yeah,
caliber."
yeah,
They don't
yeah,
give a fuck. As long as if Floyd
yeah,
Mayweather come out of retirement right now and fight Canelo and Canelo win, they'll act like that's the greatest fight they ever lived. They'll be like, damn, he beat
Yeah.
Mayweather.
he'd be
They don't,
greater than Mayweather at that point. They
right.
don't
Yep.
forget
That's what
that
they'll
Mayweather
say.
45.
Right. Right.
I, when I
That's
told
why
you
I
that,
don't respect Canelo fans. I don't respect them at all.
yeah, when I told you that amateur fight with Joe McClellan and Roy, I made a mistake and said what you call it was on that fight. That was a Mayweather wasn't fighting that day. He was way too young. About 3 years
Okay.
later or 4 years later, my boy was in the army, and his name was we used to call him fucking Hollywood. Him, David Diaz, and Floyd had won the Golden Glove together.
Okay.
Like nobody really knew who Floyd was gonna be that great, but he's hard in that card though. He won the title though. Yeah. Yeah, man. I watched a lot of fights, man, amateur and pros, man. Man, I used to be a fight. I was like you when I was younger. Now
Who, me?
you in the back. I was like that when I was younger. I'm not like that anymore. That's why I can't really debate
Oh,
with you
that's
on the
me
new
right now. I
fighters.
be watching all the amateur
When we
fights,
go
all
old
type of
school,
fights.
I'm gonna tell you a
I watch
fight I
old
saw
school
fight.
too and new school, bro.
Yeah, but I'm out of touch a little bit with the new school now. I see I only could debate with you with the stars. Like when you
Yeah.
start going into upcoming dudes, I got to shut up.
Yeah.
So if you ever notice when you start talking about them up and coming guys, I'm
Yeah.
quiet because
Man, shit.
it's
I like
quiet.
all old school fighters too. Hey, Roger Mayweather, he was a good fighter too. I liked him.
He was okay. He just had no chin, man. He had
Yeah,
no
he
chin.
had
See,
no chin, man.
Roger ain't like doing the road work and stuff. Like Roger would get tired, like and he'd get tired to the point where
Yeah.
like how Deontay Wilder retired, and it's like they
Yeah.
just in there. It's like they falling over, but their legs not
Yeah.
under them.
I saw Rocky Lockridge knock him out with one punch, and that's when I was like,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
about to watch that amateur fight with Robert Jones Jr. and old dude. I can't
Watch
think
that.
of his name.
Watch it, bro. If they
Yeah.
got it on YouTube,
I
watch
don't
it.
think they got that. That's on. That's
Hey,
on.
I wonder do they got it on YouTube? I'm finna look it
I
up
don't
right
think
now.
they.
Try
I
it.
don't think they got that.
We talked about that fight for about 3 years in the gym, bro. That was one of the greatest at Golden, and it wasn't the finals; it was the semifinals.
Hmm.
It sounded like it should have been the finals, but it was the semifinals because
But the thing about the tournaments, it don't matter who you know what round it is. It just matter the fighters that's fighting in that
yeah,
round.
yeah,
So two greats met, and one of them they was a little bit better than the other match with all that damn power. Gerald McClellan was he had a good boxing technique, and then as a pro, he's working with
Emmanuel,
Carl, right?
Emmanuel
Emmanuel
Stewart.
Stewart, right?
Yeah,
So when you bring that power with the damn skill, that's when shit gets scary.
yeah, because he had to go to Emmanuel because when he first turned pro, he was losing fights, man. He lost like three fights, I believe, by decision. And he had to go into that Kronk. Yo, I need me a good trainer. And it panned out because people did he was ignored when he turned pro because remember he wasn't in the Olympic trials because he had the broken hand because he broke his hand fighting Roy. So and so he couldn't fight for the championship. So I don't know who they put in his place. I don't know if they put Roy in his place. I'm not sure. So he couldn't fight. So he couldn't. You had to win that national Golden Glove in order to get into Olympic trials. So he couldn't fight because his broken hand. So he was eliminated from the trials. So I think they put Roy in his spot. Roy won, got into the Olympic trials, swept everybody in the Olympic trials,
Dominated.
and went into to the Olympics. But that's supposed to have been Gerald McClellan.
And
Roy,
Gerald McClellan, he probably would have been like one of like you know how Foreman was actually still knocking the dudes out in the amateur. McClellan probably would have been knocking the dudes out. Roy
Jerry
was out
McCullough
punching
got
them.
a son that who fight.
McClellan would have been stopping dudes in them damn amateurs, I
I
believe.
didn't know that.
yeah, he was a good boxer though. He wasn't only a puncher because he not only
Yeah,
outpunched Roy, he outboxed Roy. It's hard to
damn,
outbox Roy with that type of speed, but he
that speed,
outboxed
yeah,
Roy
damn.
and outpunched him.
Man, I
Yeah, I
wish
can't
somebody
find the
recording that
footage,
shit,
bro.
boy.
But I guess James Tony versus McCullough. I lost that footage in the sparring session.
Oh, I wanted that to be a fight. You know who I wanted to see? McClellan versus Bernard Hopkins. I
Yeah,
always
me
wanted to
too.
see that, man.
Hey, Jared McClellan's son, he's really good too. I like watching him. His son, he can fight.
Oh, Gerald McClellan got a son.
Yeah, he fights. He fights. Julian. He was with training with Julian Jackson. You know the one middleweight. Yeah, he was training with him.
Yeah, what? I
I
ain't
didn't
never
know
For
knew.
that.
real, he got a son that fights.
Ah,
I didn't know that.
Man,
but I used to
I
love
want to see it.
Jackson though.
Yeah,
But one of the things one of the reasons why I said Tank wouldn't never match Mike Tyson with it because he's not a heavyweight is because
yeah.
Julian Jackson was a devastating puncher, but he couldn't get the clout that Mike Tyson had because he wasn't a heavyweight. People discriminate because remember you got a casuals outweigh us in the boxing as boxing fans. So
Facts.
casuals want to see heavy guys knock each other out. So when Julian Jackson was knocking these junior middleweights out, he was doing it better than Mike. But Cash was like, "But you ain't no heavyweight, so
Heck
we don't
yeah,
care about
though.
you. We
But I
don't care
think
about
now,
you, it's Mike."
I think that held more weight back in the day.
Yeah, it
I
did.
think now with the social media, it's different. Like the little
Yeah,
guys, even in the post Floyd Mayweather era, Floyd sold all those pay per views, and he wasn't even knocking dudes out by that time.
it was it.
And so Tank, him and Ryan Garcia, I don't know if you know this, but their pay per view is number 6 of all time.
Yeah, I said
In,
Ryan
in, the,
was.
in the era of piracy, in the era of people streaming, I think that a little guy can be Tank will ever surpass Mike. It wasn't just a knockout outside of the ring, as well
Yeah,
as his
his
voice,
tactics outside of the
voice,
ring. That's what I
his
said. Yeah,
spirit. Yeah,
yeah. I said Mike Tyson. It wasn't only his knockouts; it was his
right.
behavior, his weird behavior that also
And
got
Mike
him
Tyson
that
kind of a
reputation.
people don't want to like to say it, but he kind of a boxing genius. Like Mike, if you ever listen to him talk and see
Not
how
about
talk,
that though.
he's very intelligent. Tank really isn't good as an orator.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. Too. He can't talk for shit. I heard him talk one time. I said, "Won't they send this young man to school? He got all the money in the world. He had to make at least 40 million in that ring. So he got to have
Yeah.
in cash. He got to have at least 15 million in cash. So you mean to tell me you can't get a tutor? Nothing? Because Mike Tyson wasn't talking that good either when he first started. He had got a tutor. They worked on Mike's speech. Mike couldn't say right when you ever notice Mike kept saying ludicrous because that was one of the words that Don King got taught to him. Ludicrous. Everything was ludicrous to Mike at one time. So he had to learn. He had to go back. I don't know if he got a tutor or he went back to school, but whoever Don King had said something about he had worked with Mike on his vocabulary. So he didn't know all that at the beginning. Mike was he was I don't know what the fuck he used to say when he was younger. So like he retarded. We thought he was retarded. That's what we thought.
Hey man,
Mike.
I'll go ahead and end it on that.
Acting.
We had a good time in this live. Thanks everybody for coming up. We talked about a lot of different topics. Greatest Mexican fighters, Mike Tyson. Tank. We talked about Gerald McClellan and Roy. We ran that over. We talked about inflated records. We talked about a whole lot of shit.
Yeah.
The full live replay will be available on YouTube. Y'all have a good night, man.
All right. Good night, bro. Peace.